Well, it's a lightweight boxing show, and we're delighted to be joined by the president of Top Rank, Todd DuBoef. Now, Todd, it's great to see. I know you're in the UK, a busy schedule, no doubt, for you. Just give us a little bit of insight as to the itinerary for you while you're over here.
Well, my itinerary is ever since we made a deal with Sky. It's like introducing ourselves and getting ourselves familiar with everybody over at the Sky Network, who's been terrific. So really, putting everything in place, looking forward on the partnership, getting out there and obviously we picked up for the United States, the Amir Khan Kell Brook fight last night, just familiarizing ourselves with our partners. And it's been a wonderful experience. And nothing like for us traveling in today's world, and nothing like being in London in the UK.
And obviously you'll be heading to Glasgow for the big fight again at the weekend, Josh Taylor against Jack Catterall, an all UK affair. Just give us your thoughts, what this will be stateside, how it's going to be greeted stateside. And we're very excited about it here, obviously. It's a great fight, two unbeaten fighters.
Right. I mean, the US, we're really in a nice place because we don't have some of the big sports that have just wound down, right? We have we have a delay on the Major League Baseball. We have NBA going right now. We just finished up, obviously, the NFL and college football. NBA All-Star game just occurred. So we have a somewhat of an uncluttered sports environment, which is good. Obviously, we have college basketball kind of heading into its last parts of it. And, when Josh had such a terrific performance and did such a great job in when he unified all the titles with Jose Ramirez. So, getting him back on air and getting the people to familiarize himself and see such a great performance coming from his hometown should just be embraced by everybody.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Josh Taylor. We know about it. He's a great amateur. He's done fantastically well. He's hardly put a foot wrong as a professional. He has all the belts. He's making history in terms of Scottish fighters and UK fighters in terms of what he's doing. But from your point of view, is it now about his profile and making that profile even bigger and better? You've got the Sky Alliance now, but obviously with Top Rank in the States as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's our job all the time, right? Our job is all the time to elevate the young athletes, give them the exposure and give them the opportunity to become, not somebody just exposed in the United States, but globally. Josh comes from that same mold. He's got great charisma. We did a terrific show that we've been airing in the States on it. I guess he saw it the other day and was like, "This is brilliant. I love it." Just telling a little bit of story about him, telling a little bit of a story about, Ken Buchanan and talking about, the history and where it goes back. And that's what we need today in sports. I think for a little bit of the issue has largely been that COVID has interrupted cadence for these kids and for all the athletes in throughout the world. And that's been more of the issue, where right after the Ramirez fight, I'd love to get him back right away, and just frequency would have equaled more awareness, which would have equaled more fans getting exposed to him. So now that we look like we're on the back end of COVID and we can accelerate that cadence, we hope to do that. That helps raise his profile.
It's going to be some atmosphere in Glasgow. It is England going up there to take on the Scot in front of a passionate Scottish crowd. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. And also in terms of the fight itself, again, not many are giving Jack Catterall much of a chance, but I know his team and the fighter himself are very, very confident. So how do you see it all panning out?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really terrific fight. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. Josh has never been a fast starter. And other than, a result with a mandatory where a guy came in from Asia was just, it was just kind of freakish. It was an unfortunate performance by the opponent. We haven't seen anything like that, right? And he has, Josh has just been a guy that, he starts getting going. He's not like a come out and blast you guy. And I think one of the things he's going to have to watch for is giving away too many early rounds, because Catterall is going to be there and he's going to be there all night. And when you start talking about the division and you talk about Jack Catterall, Jose Pedraza, Jose Zepeda, Teofimo Lopez. You're talking about a class of fighter in that next level that is really, and that's knocking on the doorsteps, that on any night they can step through that door and take advantage of an opportunity. So Josh, as much as it's a homecoming, and we've seen it happen before, right? Homecoming, there in comes a spoiler. He's going to have his A game. So any of the books or the Brits that think that they are Scottish people, because obviously the Brits are rooting for Catterall, but think this is going to be just an easier fight for him. I don't see that happening.
Well, we look forward to that. Just obviously you're in London at the moment as well, and I'm sure as everybody has been looking at the Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte situation, which is now resolved. I know we're edging closer to a formal announcement in terms of venue and date. Can you give us any insight on that? Because obviously the date that we've been talked about or has been spoken about is April the 23rd, Wembley Stadium. But formally, what are you thinking in terms of announcements?
We're managing a couple of things on this front. It's been tricky the whole way. Obviously, this went to a purse bid, and Queensberry, we worked hand in hand with them with putting in the bid and securing everything. There's just, we're trying to get a situation where we can announce this probably early next week. I think that we may, start to announce something maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm going to be meeting with Queensberry, the officials today, the Warrens, and going over that stuff. That's what we're hoping to do. We really wanted to. I actually came over early in the week, hoping to get this announced even today. So I think what we're trying to do is just get this thing announced. For April 23rd is the date that we're working on, and I don't see that wiggling at all. And we just wanted to button up one open item with the Whyte camp before we did all of that.
So no major dramas now from your point of view. Everything is set in stone, and these two will finally get it on.
Yeah, I haven't had, because I've been stateside, I haven't had, the look into the details, and we've relied on Queensberry to do that, and they've been doing a lot of that details in conjunction with us, but from a distance. I think we're over a lot. Getting the contract signed was one thing. There's one outline issue that we just kind of going to get through and collectively understand each other, and I think that's it. And hopefully it'll be, listen, I walked in the hotel the hotel I'm staying at on Tuesday night and checked in, and the concierge was like, "Aren't you from Top Rank? Aren't you guys bringing the Fury Whyte fight to the UK?" I'm so excited. It's people want this fight, and I think it really is going to be magnificent. I think it's magnificent to bring the sport back with a big heavyweight fight after all of we've gone through the last 2 years with COVID.
Yeah, there has been just an issue. I'm sure it's something that can be solved in terms of Tyson Fury and his license. In terms of, is it a Nevada license? Doesn't have a British license. There could be some issues around that, but you don't see a problem with that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think we're all we're going boom ahead. We just want to wrap up some of the details with the Whyte camp, and obviously we want to time things nicely and get tickets on sale, make the announcement correctly, trying to get both fighters availability. If we could get a press conference, and if we can't, how can we appropriately do that? But listen, this is, you go back to Lewis and Bruno as an all UK heavyweight fight, and this goes back that far. And this may be one of the biggest all UK heavyweight fights of all times.
Yeah, it's some heavyweight division now, isn't it? Particularly for the UK market, with obviously Joshua Usyk down the line as well, and potential matchups again with all UK heavyweight title fights. Again, with the UK being so strong, has that been something that you've really embraced in terms of Top Rank and this heavyweight division, and the UK being particularly strong now?
I've been salivating at the UK, and what I think Sky has done a terrific job. With over the last decade and a half, almost 2 decades of really, putting their arms around the sport and positioning it next to, football and the Premier League on their programming schedule. And that in itself has allowed the sport to get great exposure and build up incredible fan base. And I think what they've done here and what everybody that has opened up everybody's eyes is almost a template for the rest of the world. So I think for the last 2 decades or decade and a half at least, I've looked at this market as a market that's robust and has incredible alignment with media partners and has great talent that's coming out. And you had the Olympics here back in London. We had some really good fighters come out of, and I think, women's boxing has done terrific here. So I think this is a great fertile ground, and I think this is a great opportunity for everybody all over the world to see lots of boxing.
I know you were very keen to get Sky on board. You obviously have that alliance now. And where do you see the boxing landscape now? It's very interesting, I think, for yourself, Top Rank and Sky. Obviously, you've got ESPN, but there's also now with Eddie Hearn, obviously in the UK, and DAZN, and there are obviously Frank Warren. I mean, it's a busy promoter landscape with the broadcasters as well. I mean, are you one that favors the competition and just getting stuck in and everything is good for boxing? How do you feel about the whole thing?
I think if everyone knows how to play in the sand, okay, right? If we can all be in the play yard and play together in a really objective way, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think I lived through the era where we had 2 big premium cable giants, HBO and then Showtime at a lower level, kind of digging in their heels, and matches were made impossible because they were contractually committed. And it just went through a lot, from Mayweather Pacquiao to De La Hoya Trinidad, that even to Lewis and Tyson, it took a long time for these fights to happen. So I think if everybody's aligned, and everybody knows exactly what the best thing for the sport is, and try to get, to have BT in the business and have them out there with their megaphone and Sky out there with their megaphone, I think it's wonderful. I think it just creates, more awareness, creates, and more fans. And it's such a beautiful sport. It used to be one of the primary sports in the world back in the early 1900s. We're not much, we didn't have a lot of other clutter out there. And I think that if everyone just kind of concentrates on staying on their A game and making good matches and not having the rhetoric of hate that comes through this business too much, I think we're positioned greatly. And I think the more media partners you have, like BT and Sky together, the better it's going to be.
So are you one that would want to work with every promoter? You don't have any particular animosity to anybody? Your door's always open. Are you that kind of guy now for Top Rank?
I've always been that kind of guy. I've always kind of been like, it's not that I'm not going to do it. When the right fights at the right times, the right matches and public demand is there, you figure out a way to have a solution, right? And that's kind of how I come from. I also think there's respect, right? There's a big respect thing that you do to your platform and your partners. And if there is disparity where somebody's on one platform and another fighter's on another platform, how do you come together? You don't abandon. I don't want to see, Frank Warren abandon his partnership with Scott, with BT, and, he wouldn't, and vice versa. You respect those and you bring everybody to the table. There's a common ground. We were able to do this with the Fury Wilder fights, right? Al Heyman and PBC are with Fox and we're with ESPN. And rather than be children and say, we're not going to do it and fight in the sand and it's all or nothing, you come to the table when there's disparity and on 2 different platforms and you figure out a solution. And I think that dialogue is a positive dialogue that nobody can be critical of. And I think that's the optics, and I think that's the execution that we should be doing going forward. 30 years ago and 25 years ago, to 40 years ago, it was different. It's my content, it's my platform, and I'm not playing with anybody. Very narrow-minded, very short-sighted, but listen, boxing is really, has come a long way, and it's in everybody's wheelhouse throughout the globe. It's one of the top sports in the world.
Great stuff. Just before you go, just a word about Vasily Lomachenko and the potential with Kambosos. Any develops on that stage?
Nothing really develops other than, we're in the middle of it, and this is a fight that Vasily really, really wants, and he's willing to go to Australia to do it. It would be great to, provide, another, unified title fight for him. He feels like the Teofimo fight got away from him, and he feels like he wants that back. And we're having positive conversations, but as you know, in this business, everything doesn't happen and so quickly. So hopefully we could get there. We feel, Vasily has been a wonderful partner of ours because he lets you know what he wants very easily and just says, I'll work with you to get it done. And that's what we're kind of, that's the direction we're taking. And hopefully we can do that and figure that out for sometime in June in Australia. That would be fantastic. Yeah,
and obviously from his own point of view, and his friend Usyk as well, they just want their families safe. I mean, obviously there's another developing situation at the moment that's really grave, isn't it? And all Ukrainians will be very concerned.
I mean, I think everybody in this world is concerned right now. I mean, this is not the way that leaders or countries in today's society act, right? And we thought this was over in the 1930s, right? When people were invading countries, that imperialistic attitude, was not the way that we move forward for better humankind and for a better world today that is so flat. We're all affected by everybody. So I think the one thing I like to see is everyone supporting the Ukrainians, and we're seeing the world come together, which is a good thing. But I feel for all the fighters. We have a wonderful fight, a lot of fighters from the Ukraine and from that region that have wonderful amateur programs that come out that become terrific professionals. And we'd hate to see the foundation of that country get shattered by invasion and an imperialist perspective.
Yeah, well, sorry to get so heavy, but geopolitics, it's dominating, isn't it, at the moment? But listen, we'll let you get on. I know you're very, very busy. Enjoy Scotland, enjoy the whole experience, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. And all the best to Bob as well. I hope all is well.
All right, thanks a lot, and really terrific being on the show and doing the interview. And this is just the beginning for us, and we're really committed to all of you that support the sport on a daily basis. It's terrific.
And it didn't go unnoticed, Todd. You mentioned football in the Premier League. You didn't say soccer. These things are very, very big things for us, as you well know. So well done.
All right. I get brownie points. Someone will go buy me a drink in a pub today.
Man, thank you, Todd.
All right. Thanks. You got it. Bye-bye.